Welcome to Missouri Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Staley, and today we're back with some more college football predictions. So let's waste no time. Last week, I believe I went 14-4 is what I want to say. So let's go over those games real quick. The Missouri scoreboard on your screen currently. Missouri State and UT Martin is where we're going to start. I got that one exactly correct. I took Missouri State by 7. I'm feeling pretty proud by that. Truman State, they got beat up by Saginaw Valley State. Not very proud of that pick. I chose Truman State by 17, and they got killed. So it is what it is. There, SEMO gets it done, 38-21. I obviously had that game correct. I took SEMO by 5 though. Thought it would be a closer game. SEMO is jumping up in the rankings pretty far. Let's see what else. Let's talk about Central Missouri. They have been a little bit questionable so far this year. Not terrible, though. They get another win. Obviously, I had that one correct. Emporia State versus Missouri Western. Just found out that Coach Mike Gundy, the Oklahoma State head coach, his son, Gunnar Gundy, he transferred out of Oklahoma State, and he actually went to Emporia State in Kansas. So Missouri Western gets a look at Coach Gundy's son, and he threw the ball 74 times in this game, and they ended up winning in overtime 30-27. This is the most pass attempts in Emporia State history, and Gundy gets it done barely with 74 passes. I think he completed 49, and he ended up being Offensive Player of the Week, obviously. So, Missouri Western doesn't get it done. They're down to 2-2 on the season. They'll be fine, though. Don't worry about them. And, the one that we need to talk about, obviously, is Mizzou. They won 30-27 against Vanderbilt. Same score as that Missouri Western game. Don't know if Missouri Western lost on a game-losing field goal, like field goal missed, because that's what Vandy did. They missed the field goal and lost the game. I was actually working at Learfield for this game. That's the two loudest times I've ever heard that office was, number one, that last missed field goal by Blake Craig. Easily the loudest I've ever heard that building. So many groans, so many yells. And then when Vandy missed the field goal to lose, that's the second loudest I've ever heard the building get. So it was a very fun time, kind of sweated that one out a little bit when you look back on it. That was not a good game, but the feeling of Vandy missing that field goal at the time was really nice. And a win is a win. You can't really predict what's going to happen in the SEC. It's a crazy conference. Anybody can win any game. So obviously you want a better game. I took Missouri by 21, so I was 18 points off. I thought this game wouldn't be very close, but Vandy came out with their A game. So let's go ahead and get to the SEC scoreboard. Let's go ahead and start with the bottom row. Texas, they beat UL Monroe 51-3. I had them winning by 49. They win by 48, so I was close on that one again. Kentucky, they win by 35. I took them by 35. That's another one. Keep the counter. That's 2. Auburn versus Arkansas. Arkansas wins by 10 on the road. Good win for Arkansas. LSU hosts UCLA. I had LSU winning by 17, and they win by 17. Keep the counter going. That is 3 that I've gotten exactly correct this week. Ole Miss, they win 52-13. Not anything that you really expected to be fireworks in that game. I took Ole Miss by 40, so I was one off on that one as well, huh? And then Tennessee, they go on the road to Oklahoma. Obviously, SEC game of the week, maybe even the game of the week for the country, honestly. So, obviously, College Game Day was there as well. Tennessee gets it done by 10. Jackson Arnold for Oklahoma, he gets benched. Oklahoma already given up on their guy that said he's going to win Heisman. So, it's fun watching Oklahoma implode already. 4 games in, they've honestly not had the greatest season. Although they're 3-1, they're playing close with small schools, and obviously it's showing that they're not very happy. Tennessee moves to 4-0 on the season. They're looking really good. The top 25 scoreboard now. Let's start with Iowa State. They win 52-7. Obviously that wasn't going to be a close game, and we got kind of what we expected. BYU, they upset Kansas State. Even with this being a home game for BYU, I still think this is an upset. 38-9, pretty crazy score there. I really did not expect that at all. Another one that I got wrong, Nebraska. They lose to Illinois at home. Illinois goes to Lincoln and gets it done. I had Nebraska by 18. They lose by 7. Louisville, they win 31-19. Good win for the Cardinals. Michigan, they win by 3 against USC. Guess what? I had Michigan by 3 in that game. That is 4 that I got exactly correct this week. Never done that before. So even with the games that I predict, 42 in high school, haven't gotten 4 correct in the same week, I don't think. I may have lost track at some point with the high school, but for college at least, this is the first time I've gotten 4 correct on the exact point total. So I don't know if I should say good win for Michigan. They look okay. They do look like a top 25 school, and so does USC. It was a tough Big Ten battle now. Isn't that weird? We keep going back to that with all this conference realignment. It feels weird to say some of these games are conference games, but USC ends up going to Ann Arbor and losing. I feel like you should have really expected that to happen, but overall, pretty good game. And Oklahoma State, they got thumped by Utah. Now, the score does not say everything. Utah ends up winning 22-19 because they kind of tried to let it go there in the fourth quarter, but overall, Oklahoma State looked awful. They looked awful, Brutus. And, I don't think that they're going to make a quarterback change. I think Alan Bowman's just fine, but overall, not a good game. They're going to be looking at some position changes possibly. We'll see what happens there in Stillwater. The Missouri scoreboard for this week, let's go ahead and get to our predictions. This Eastern Illinois and Lindenwood game, if someone tried to offer to pay me to go to this game, someone said, I'll give you $50 to go to this game, I'm not making $50 that day because I would not go to this game. This one looks just awful. 1-3 teams on both sides. I will take the Panthers by 10. Just really not going to be a fun game there. Missouri State versus Youngstown State. I really don't think this is going to be a close game. I think the Bears win this one by 14. What else? North Central, they have always been good. They're good year in, year out, making it deep in the playoffs. So give me the Cardinals by 17. SEMO versus Northwestern State. Northwestern State is 0-4. They're one of the worst teams in football, all levels. So, obviously I'm not going to say this is going to be a close game. I would be shocked if this was within 20 points. I will take the Red Hawks by 32. Emporia State versus Northwest. Northwest is hosting, so this one makes it a little more interesting. But I do think Emporia is one of the better teams in the country for D2, so I will take them by 8 points. And Central Missouri versus Nebraska Kearney, this has to be the Missouri game of the week. I think the Mules need to bounce back. Even with that win last week, they've been playing their opponents close. They need that game, if you know what I'm saying. They need that game. And I'm not fully certain if it'll come against the Lopers. I am going to take the Mules by 4 points in this one, but I do expect the Central Missouri squad to play pretty solid in this game. I guess we will see. The SEC scoreboard, we'll just start with LSU and South Alabama. I think you guys are thinking what I'm thinking. I will take the Tigers by 54. Aggies hosting the Razorbacks. I don't really know what to say on this one. I can see it going either way. Arkansas is better than I expected this year, but I will take A&M by 10. Ole Miss versus Kentucky. I'm okay with Kentucky this year. I think they're an all right team. Almost beat Georgia, actually. But I do think that the Rebels get this one done by 21. Auburn versus Oklahoma. Obviously, I said I'm kind of having fun seeing Oklahoma implode a little bit. But, also Auburn is not that great, in my opinion. So I am going to take the Sooners by 17. I couldn't care who they have at quarterback. I still think that they win on the road in this one. I think they're just levels ahead of what Auburn is. So Maybe I'm hating on Auburn here. It is what it is. Texas versus Mississippi State, another game I don't think is going to be close. Texas, the number one team in the country. Mississippi State is lagging behind. Their season's already coming to an end, if we're going to be honest. They're 1-3. I couldn't even tell you who their quarterback is this year. It's not looking good for Mississippi State. Give me Texas by 5 touchdowns. I will say 35-point Longhorn win. Alabama versus Georgia. SEC championship game last year. I feel like they played big playoff games almost every year here the past 5 years. One of them is going crazy. Obviously, Alabama for longer than that. But Georgia, as of late, they almost had a three-peat last year. They lose in the SEC championship to Bama. So, honestly, I think that Georgia would have won the national championship for a third straight year last year. But it doesn't happen because the Crimson Tide get it done. But, with it being in Tuscaloosa, this is going to be a really tough game for the Bulldogs. But I do have Georgia going to Bryant-Denny Stadium and winning by 7 points. Maybe a hot take there. I don't know. I obviously don't look at betting lines with college because, I work with college athletics with Learfield, so I get fired if I did anything with that. So I have no clue who's the betting favorite, who's the underdog, and who's the favorite in this game. But, if it were me, I'd say even with Georgia being on the road, they should be the favorite, and I think they win this game. Top 25 scoreboard. Who do we want to start first? Maybe Michigan State and Ohio State, because this is the one that I think is going to be the furthest apart. I'll have the Buckeyes by 27 in this one. Not fully bought into Michigan State this year. They are 3-1, but I think they've got a lot to figure out. Michigan versus Minnesota, another game I don't think will be close. I think the Wolverines are going to have the game that they've been waiting for. I think they win by 23 in this one. Minnesota is just not the greatest team this year. USC versus Wisconsin. This one's an interesting game. This is another conference game. Like, what the heck? I actually get the pleasure of working this game at Learfield. It's Oregon State's bye week, so I get to work this on the Wisconsin side. They're on the road in California, but I must say, even though I'm working with these guys, I don't have the Badgers winning. I think that they lose this one. I will take a point total USC by 14. Kansas State versus Oklahoma State. Two teams coming off of ugly losses. I think with this being in Kansas State, with it being in Manhattan, they may have a bit of an edge, but overall, I feel like Alan Bowen's playing better than Avery Williams is, if that's his name, right? I think. I don't really even know. He's got the lavender car and stuff. I'm not bothering with him, so if you guys could tell, I'll take Oklahoma by 2 points. And Penn State versus Illinois. Illinois is playing great this year. They're 4-0. They're looking better than they have for a while, but I don't think that they win this one. I think the Nittany Lions at home, I think they win by 16. And I will take the top 25 game of the week being Notre Dame and Louisville. I have no clue where game day is this week. I didn't look at that. But, maybe, man, I don't even know. Like, look, I'd assume they're in Tuscaloosa, right? They'd have to be, but I don't know. I'd assume they're in Tuscaloosa. I guess I'll go figure that out after I film this video. But, Notre Dame versus Louisville, if we get back on track here. I like the Irish in this one. They got a pretty solid win last week. And Louisville, they played good as well. It was against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's still kind of a question mark. They're 3-2. A lot of people bought into the hype after their win in Ireland against Florida State. But now we're noticing that Florida State's not a good team this year, obviously. So I don't know. I will take Notre Dame because they have this one at home. So give me Notre Dame by 9. So that's all we've got for today. Obviously, tomorrow is NFL. I think Easton will be here, not fully certain. Stay tuned for our Missouri Sports Talk game of the week. That will also be out later tomorrow. So this has been Missouri Sports Talk. We'll see you next time.